This is Samuel Lee, and this is Underground Opolis.
I've got much love for the robbers. I've got two fists for the war. I've got a mouthful of truth, yeah. I've got the salt for the sore. You may not understand my reasons. You may want me to settle down. But I'll be right there laughing in your face, 'cause you're not shit and you don't wear the crown. I'm the one who's got kisses for all the girls. If you can catch me, I'ma take you all around the world.
Welcome to Underground Opolis, everybody. Tonight, my guest, been at it for quite a while now. This band has. They've been through quite a bit. He's come on to agree to share their incredible story with everybody, and I'm really happy to have him. I'm just going to go ahead and bring him right on. I'm not going to. Oh yeah, well I'll plug in open mic at Dundee Tavern every Wednesday night, 2224 Dundee Road, Louisville, Kentucky. Every Wednesday night, 7 to 10. I'll go ahead and just plug that in because I always do. All right. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
I'm Trevis Parker. I play with the Muscles. We're from Taylorville, Illinois.
Is that close to Champaign?
Yeah, it's fairly close. It's closer to Springfield, Illinois, or state capital.
Right.
About 25 miles south of there, but it's close to, Decatur, Bloomington, Champaign, Springfield area. Right in the dead center of the state, pretty much.
I was thinking I heard of it. I lived in Terre Haute for a while, but that's probably not close.
I'm familiar with it. Yeah, we're in between, right in between St. Louis and Indianapolis, and just about as far away from those two places as Chicago. So we're dead smack in the middle of three pretty decent sized cities.
Tell me how the Muscles got together.
Well, I had been playing in a band called Hot Rod Gasket for about 10 years, and then I took a job driving a truck, which left me with only time to practice on weekends. And the other two guys didn't think that was gonna work out too well, so that kind of just dwindled off over the first year that I'd started my job, to the point where we really weren't doing anything at all for nearly the whole year. So I was getting kind of frustrated with that, and my wife at the time was expressing an interest in playing drums. And so we've been talking about it on and off here and there, And so one day we're at an Aldi's. We were dirt poor at the time. And she brought this DVD she found in the bargain bin. It was a drum tutorial. And it was like $2, I think. So I was thinking, this probably isn't real good. It's not going to help her much, but it's $2. So what the hell? So we bought this thing and took it home, and I looked it over. It came with an instruction booklet, a DVD, and it looked pretty good actually. So I set her up with the computer and put the DVD in over by the drum set. I had a couple drum sets at the time, and just kicked it on for her, and she went from there on her own. And within 2 weeks, she had the entire thing down pat, and it was pretty extensive. So, I'd heard her playing, and I thought, she sounded really, really good. And her meter was excellent, which was a big, big deal to me. And she seemed to be a natural at doing it. So I just plugged my guitar in and said, okay, let's see how you do playing with somebody. And I said, going along with this tutorial. And she just immediately took right to it. And so I called one of my bass player friends over, and we just kind of quickly wrote a song real quick just to see how she would do writing her own thing right off the top of her head, and it just went really well. And so I got a couple other friends, guitar player Josh foil, and my other friend Brandon McLeod played bass. And we just started writing songs. So like the first 2 songs we wrote, I recorded them on a little home recording studio thing, and I pretty much just recorded it so we would have something to listen back to, see how we were doing, you know, just kind of get outside of ourselves to hear it from a different perspective rather than playing it. We kind of just sit back and listen to it and get a better view of it or listen to it. And so Jill had snuck off and put those 2 songs on YouTube against my wishes, and eventually a promoter or a booking agent for the Effingham Performance Center in Effingham heard it and wanted us to come play. I mean, it's a pretty big theater. It's about 1,500 seater. So we did a few shows there, did a few in St. Louis, which I was familiar with playing with from my previous band, and did a few local. And then before we knew it, we were getting a call to open up for Jackal. And so, yeah, and that kind of got to be a bit of a mess between the booking agents, the owner of the venue, their managers, and it was just a little bit of a mess. So another band kind of went over everybody's head and weaseled us out of that deal. But the owner of the venue really liked us, and the booking agent liked us, so they wanted us to open up for Brett Michaels the following week for his birthday bash thing. So we did that. It was pretty much sold out crowd, and things just really took off like crazy from there. So that's pretty much the beginnings of our band.
How long? You've been doing this, what? How many years?
Well, this band's been around since 2012. I started playing when I was 18 in 1988. I've been it was in a band in college. It did pretty well. It was the first band I wrote music for. We played with Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. Yeah,
love Dr. Hook.
Yeah, we were pretty much a punk rock band, so we just kind of turned off the distortion and played clean and slowed everything down and gave it a little bit more of a rock and roll kind of southern rock twang to it, I guess, and it went over pretty good. So I'm sure we would have got kicked out of there pretty quickly if we had played our original set. So, but it turned out well. Played with the Digits there, and then the band kind of dissolved after a while. It was kind of just a college thing, you know. And then I took off to St. Louis to play with our drummer actually lived in St. Louis, so I moved to St. Louis and started playing with his band, and it had to reform a couple times, but we had a good probably 5 or 6 year streak, and played with basically all my heroes, everybody I was, you know, my punk rock vein, so all my punk rock heroes we were lucky enough to open for and did really well. Things, you know, typically with bands, something falls apart eventually, but same thing happened with that. It just kind of dissolved, and I moved back home and played for 10 years with Hot Rod Gasket, a band I'd started. Or actually, it kind of formed from another band with all friends of mine that I grew up with, and were playing while I was in college, or got started playing when I was in college, and during the time I was in St. Louis. So by the time I moved back, they were all doing pretty well, and I joined with them, and then made a few movements with the band members, and then it did pretty well for a pretty long time, about 10 years, and then once that dissolved, we started up Dopey Joe and the Muscles.
Which is a great band name, by the way.
Yeah, that was actually, we took that name on advice from a friend of ours. He suggested that, and it just stuck. It was too good, so we just went ahead and went with it. And yeah, people knew her as Filthy Jill more than anything for for a long, long time. Well, in 2018, she split with the band. We were having quite a bit of turmoil after we did this show with Bret Michaels. There was quite a bit of pressure to do some big shows. We really weren't quite ready to be doing that kind of thing, I don't think. I mean, we were really, really close to it, and I think we could have. But we had lost our guitar player at that time. He had moved to Indianapolis, actually, for a job. And so replacing him, it just finding someone takes a while. And then once you get them, it takes about 6 months to get them really worked in there good. Real good. And so by the time those 6 months expire, you realize, hey, this is going to work out for some reason or another. It's either a personality thing or a job thing or, a transportation thing. It's just one thing or another. And so we just went one band member after another for years. And it was getting really, really frustrating. And there was just a lot of pressure to get something going. And with my job and the time we had to do it, in some of the shows we were actually doing here and there, it just was a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. And I was feeling it too, actually. And I was thinking to myself, we should probably take a break and give ourselves a good rest and then come back to working on things. But I think it got the better of my wife, and she just up and quit and moved off too. And so it was very odd. She didn't talk about it, didn't really explain much. She just kind of left. And so we were all pretty hopeful that maybe once she was gone for a while, that things would settle down with her and she'd want to come back. And so about a year later, she had moved back, and I wasn't for certain that she would ever want to start playing again with us. But before we had a chance to find out or give it some more time to even talk to her or approach talking to her, she got in a car accident and passed. So that really was very upsetting to all of us, of course. And it just added more pressure to find another band member, she was pretty critical to our band. But we ran through probably 3 drummers, I think. And some of them were pretty good. They played the songs, but there was just something about the feel of them, and I don't know how to explain it necessarily. There was just a feeling to the way she played, and she had kind of an unorthodox way she wrote things. I mean, she didn't write things like a typical school-taught drummer would do, And so it was very unique what she did, which threw a lot of them off. But they'd get it down. It just didn't feel the same. So we were pretty never quite happy, but we were trudging along. And so I contacted Jill's niece, who had played drums for quite a long time. In fact, she'd have been playing for about 15, 20 years, I think, by the time I tried to get a hold of her. She was playing in another band, actually. They weren't really doing a whole lot, so I thought, well, maybe she might want to hook up with us. We still had quite a few good opportunities, and maybe she might be interested in that, So I approached her about it. Initially, she just didn't want to leave the band she was in out of some loyalty issues, I think, and I'm sure she liked what she was doing and everything, but I think a big part of it was some loyalty she felt to the band she was in. But they were kind of having issues of their own, so she finally decided that she was going to go for it and come play with us, and immediately it was like playing with Jill again. So it was very strange, actually, and very cool because none of the other drummers, even though they were very good drummers, they just didn't, they had a feel to them for some reason. I can't really put my thumb on it, but it just wasn't the same. So, it's odd that Jill's niece, of all people, she did it. It was just like playing with Jill again. It was very strange. Must be in their genes or something. So we're really, really, super happy to have her playing. We got a lot of confidence playing with her that we didn't have with a lot of these other players. And so, and actually with the lineup we have now is our original lineup except for Jill. We had gone through guitar players, bass players, just seemed like nonstop for years, probably 5 or 6 years almost. And so now that we're all back together with Carrie playing, it's just like it was in the beginning. So we're pretty happy to get things fired back up again and start doing some shows and some recording and start taking up some of the opportunities we had in the past. A lot of them kind of dissipated, but there's still some of them there, and we built up a lot of good contacts. So,
Are you a smoker or a past smoker? Then you know how tough it is to quit. Having nothing to do with your hands, constantly jonesing for that cigarette or vape. That's why you got to check out Fume. Fume is the natural inhaler designed for a better, safer, and natural way to quit cigarettes. It's a no smoke, no vape, and no nicotine replacement for the hand-to-mouth habit of smoking. Fume handcrafts wooden inhalers and uses cores infused with plant oil studied to curb cravings. They have flavors like peppermint and conker with minty notes to stimulate menthol cigarettes and other flavors like cozy chai, lemon berry bliss for a sweeter experience. And all of their flavors are 100% natural, no harmful chemicals, no artificial flavors, and absolutely no nicotine. And they also have that minty throat hit that everybody likes. Quitting is tough, but Fume can really help. They've got thousands of 5-star reviews from smokers who have tried it, everything else that this worked. Since there is no smoke or vapor cloud, you can use Fume anywhere. Anywhere. There's nothing they can do about it. For somebody like me that flies all the time, and being able to use Fume in the air and in the airport is a huge difference maker. Whether you're a smoker or an ex-smoker who still struggles with cravings, Fume is the perfect tool for you. Head to breathefume.com and use the promo code ROB to save 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your entire order when you head to breathefum.com and use the promo code ROB. That's me. You're part of the Black and Blue Records outfit.
yeah, that just kind of happened, I don't know, I guess through friendships. The band I was in St. Louis, we played without MF Order for, off and on for years. And then, of course, when I moved back to Taylorville, we were still friends with, or I was still friends with Greg and Crash from the band mainly. And, they're on with Black and Blue. And Greg was always telling me to, just give them a call and see about, working with them to do something. And at the time, I knew we didn't really have, things were just a little chaotic, and I didn't want to, get involved with them until we were more stable and for their sake. And so, anyway, we ended up, and I always bumped into Jesse or Peter and, with those, playing with, Greg and those guys all the time. We just, with Jesse and the Hog Brothers, they'd be on the lineup a lot. So, we were all familiar with each other on a personal level, and then it just kind of evolved into, getting a couple songs on a compilation. And they put our name out there on their Facebook pages and their website and stuff. So that all helped us quite a bit get our name out nationally. So that was really nice. And the compilation has had a lot of issues. I'm sure you're aware of that. It's been going on for quite some time, and but apparently the new vinyl album is supposed to come out here soon. Yeah, and Dave Stein got us hooked up with a movie he was producing with Genevieve Rossi called Attack of the Killer Chicken. So our one of our songs is briefly in that, and apparently I haven't heard a word yet for quite a while, but they were talking about making an actual soundtrack to release in addition to the movie. So I'm hoping that happens and that our song will be on that. But I haven't heard for quite a while. I might touch base with Jesse this weekend at the festival, actually.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys, actually.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be really fun. Go ahead.
For those listening, he's talking about For the Music and Arts Festival in Berea, Kentucky, in which by the time this airs, it's already over.
Right.
All right.
Well, for all the people that didn't go, they're going to miss it.
yeah, exactly. Well, I've had several of the artists on already.
Yeah, I was really worried that I wouldn't get that Sunday free to be able to stay, and I was going to have to rush over there and do the show and rush right back. But it looks like now I'm going to be able to come and hang out on Friday night and Saturday night, and maybe sleep off a hangover on Sunday, and then take off back for home.
I was going to bring up Attack of the Killer Chickens because you know, of course, Jesse and the Hog Brothers are in it, or at least a couple of them. A couple of the Hog Brothers and Jesse are in it. They literally get killed by chickens.
Yeah. Yeah, my bass player Brandon and I, we went to the premiere in New Jersey and had to fly into LaGuardia and then make our way from buses and trains, and I mean, just it was quite the journey to get from LaGuardia just to the theater to go to that premiere. And we flew out of Chicago, so by the time we had left Taylorville, Illinois to Chicago to get on the plane, to get to LaGuardia, to get off the plane, to go through all that mess, you know, getting off the planes and on them, and then through all the subways and the buses and everything. And then as soon as that premiere, and we had a great time at the premiere. It was awesome. Met a lot of great people, and got to finally meet Dave Stein in person and Genevieve Rossi in person, and the cast and everything, and do the red carpet thing. It was pretty neat. So, but as soon as that was over, we had to just bolt right out of there and go catch the last train back over out of New Jersey back to New York. So, my bass player and I were up for 60 hours straight. Yeah, it was. It didn't seem too bad until the flight back, because we were so busy running around trying to get places that you just didn't really think about how tired you were. But yeah, we got all the way back. I had to go straight back to work when we got back also. So yeah, I had to drive to Kansas City as soon as I got back. So I think I got up at 9:00 on Friday and went to bed at 9:00 on Sunday night. So it was pretty rough. Took quite a bit of time to recoup from that.
Well, I bet.
It was fun, though. I'm sure we won't forget it.
Let me ask you a little bit, change direction subject here. What your favorite Muscles or Filthy Jill and the Muscles? What's your favorite Filthy Jill or the Muscles show that you've played?
Probably the top three. The Bret Michaels one was definitely a good one. There was, we had played that theater quite a few times, but it wasn't with any major acts or any real major acts. They were just kind of low level. Good bands, but they just hadn't established that kind of notoriety like Bret Michaels said. But I'd been playing for well over 20 years at that point, and I was nervous the first time I ever played, and I was never nervous after that. I played to a crowd of maybe 600 people once before in St. Louis, and no nervousness or anything, but standing on the side of the stage when the owner of the venue was making announcements about the upcoming shows and theater performances and stuff. It's a huge stage, really huge, and on the sides there's these big black curtains, and you're in the dark back there. No one can see you back there, but you can see out, and you could see this huge crowd of people, and I started getting nervous. I wasn't nervous until he was right about to announce this, and I was really kind of freaking out a little bit. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this now, because I can't get myself to calm down. So anyway, the booking agent, he let us out there and was standing by with us there at the side of the stage while they're doing all this. And he looked back at me, and I think he could tell that I was nervous. So he came over and cracked a joke to me, and it just immediately snapped me out of it. So I was fine after that. I just, for a brief moment, I got pretty nervous, but it was a really neat experience, playing all those people, and 250,000 watts of power in their sound system was pretty cool too. So I really enjoyed that. But other than that, we've played with Toxic Reasons. They've been around for a long time. They're based out of Indianapolis now, but they did really, really well years and years ago. They're toured Europe and the States quite a bit, and play with all the old school legendary bands. And they've helped us out quite a bit. We played with them in St. Louis, and their drummer JJ Pearson, he had a side band that we played with in Indianapolis at the Melody Inn. So that was a pretty good one for us. And then just playing the Melody Inn period. We played there a couple times, and it's just an amazing venue, and the whole scene there is very, very supportive, very creative, very talented people all over that scene. And I think it's just the best scene in the Midwest that I can tell. I love it there. So I think we're going to be back there in November, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember which month it is. I booked it quite a while back, but I think in November we're supposed to play there again.
We're at Melody Inn?
Yeah.
I love that place too, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. And Rich Barker and Greg Brenner, they're just super nice guys, very professional. I think they're pretty much kind of the heart of that scene. They're the first two guys you kind of see out of that whole scene anyway. It seems like they're doing the punk rock night live, and booking the shows at the Melody Inn for punk rock night. I think they kind of set the lead for everybody to have a good time, and with their professionalism and everything. I think that kind of just pervades through that whole crowd and that whole scene in that area. So it's really neat to see too, because it's really more along the lines of the scene that we had in St. Louis, except a little more professional. But we had a great scene in St. Louis at one time. It just kind of pretty much died off. But it's nice to see that still going strong and going really well in Indianapolis.
What would you say the most personal Muscle song to you is?
There's a couple. I think Blackout Girl was somewhat personal in a way that Jill, my wife, was a muse for, I guess. She really, really, really had a rough childhood, an extremely abusive childhood, actually, pretty much all the way up till her and I got together. And so, not that the song was necessarily about her in particular, but it inspired that whole song. And when we put it out, it was such a horrific recording, the first recording we did. We got a lot of feedback out of that, and it related to a lot of people. And Jill was always, the person on the social media end of things. While I was working, she was doing that kind of thing. So, but we were always together, her and I, just literally like 24/7. So she was always by my side while she was doing that stuff, and she'd always let me know what was going on. And I remember her reading me messages and texts that she had got about that song from just tons and tons of people that said they related to it. So that was one of my favorite ones.
I'm actually starting to run out of time. You got anything you want to plug in before we wrap it up?
No, not right offhand that I could think of. We're gonna make a couple more recordings, hopefully this year, and hopefully another video. You can catch our last video, "Kisses for the Girls," on YouTube. Other than that, we're gonna record a couple more songs, hopefully before the end of the year, and get maybe one or two more videos out before the end of the year, and eventually we're going to compile all these onto an album. So it'll be just like a singles compilation for us. And but other than that, we're just getting our studio renovated and recording when we can and doing shows when we can, and hopefully we'll have something people can take home and keep.
is the Clover Creek Bastards, and here's your joke of the week.
What do you call a hippie without a girlfriend?
I don't know what.
Homeless.